The new Ultimate Cup rules for December 2023 are absolutely wild, and here are some of the best decks that you should consider playing. If you haven't seen the new updated and modified rules for the upcoming 2023 December and 2024 Ultimate Cup rules yet, then be sure to check it out. Here's a quick breakdown of the list of cards and sets we'll actually be allowed to play. I'll also leave links to these sources for you guys in the description box down below. But basically, in a nutshell, it got rid of the monocolor format rules which we had from before. And the cards that we're actually now allowed to use include RB01 Resurgence Booster and all the way up to what we currently have, which is BT14 Blast Ace. There are a couple of other promo cards and tournament packs included, which was also recently released, so make sure to double check those as well. This is certainly very refreshing, as I feel it's a very nice change of pace, and let me know what you guys think about the new modified rules. With that being said, let's show you guys all the different decks that I came up with to inspire you for your own ideas. To kick us off, there is the Gammamon and the Proximamon deck, and this deck is one of the archetypes that got the most support of cards and access all around, and that is because there's many cards that you can utilize from the RB01 set. Being mainly a red and purple deck gives a lot of good control on the board, and it has a ton of deleting effects when it comes to your combos. It can also blitz and raid because it has access to the Battle Gammamons. Wezen Gammamon and Chaos Gammamon are also included, which provides evade and blocker, making the deck quite toolboxy, which is really nice. The deck can still perform a decent amount of damage because of the aggression, and I also added the BT1 tie in there as the main memory tamer since we don't have access to the BT8 hero. The top end is incredibly powerful with the combinations of Seriousmon, Arcturusmon, and Proximamon, and it constantly deletes your opponent's Digimon, which also trashes their security at the same time. And that basically is the main win condition of the deck, which is why I think it is one of the best choices for this particular format. I'm super excited to let you guys know that the AVAULT store is now live, and this would not be even happening if it weren't for you guys. Thank you all for the support. We got a bunch of awesome stuff for all of you. Plus, everything is 15% off for the grand opening sale, so be sure to check it out. So with Loogamon being one of the most hyped decks of the BT14 format, it goes without saying that this must also be included for this video as well. The main idea is to play cards that search and trash pieces to set up for an explosive turn combo, but the deck does lose a bit of its OTK potential due to not having access to the couple of key cards such as Black Gammamon, Dracmon, and Analog Youth. The neat thing is that it's still possible to make it work by replacing them with a couple of other cards, and here's what my build looks like. The strategy is to have Fenrir Loogamon make a wide board and deal tons of damage with AG by giving your stack Alliance. I also added the Metal Garurumon Ace as a alternative level 6 just to have a bit of an element of surprise, and on top of that, Omnimon Zwart is also really good just in case if I want to go even wider as my final tech level 7 choice. The deck is capable of gaining quite a bit of memory in one single turn, and that helps build the stack combo very efficiently, which is why I think this deck is a very solid choice. Numemon and Monzaemon also got quite a bit of support from BT14, and most of the other cards that you need to build the deck can actually be found from RB01 too. This deck has a very defensive control style. There are many cards that give blocker and stops attacks. The new Platinum Numemon can also float Numemon and Monzaemons whenever the top end is deleted so that you can quickly rebuild for comebacks, and Monzaemon is the key offensive source of the deck thanks to its security +1 in hurdle, which provides more damage during your turn. Shin Monzaemon is the alternative level 6, which is key to removing pretty much any Digimon your opponent has by sending it back to the bottom of their security stack, which is a very powerful removal tool. Sasuke is also one of the major contributions to this deck, as she's the main tamer, providing you a ton of value through gaining memory with the start of the main phase effect, and also mind linking with any of your Numemon and Monzaemons to give them jamming and reboot, which lets you switch gears between offensive and defensive plays whenever you need to. Now, if you want to see me cover an updated version of this particular deck with the regular BT14 format, then make sure to subscribe, turn on that notification bell right now, and give this video a like. And like always, make sure to join the AVAULT Club if you haven't done so yet, because there you get to see my early first draft deck list that I am currently working on as well. Moving on, of course, we have the original main protagonist of the Digimon Adventure series with Tai and the WarGreymon deck. This is probably one of the strongest decks and archetypes for you to bring if you're considering to play the Ultimate Cup tournaments. There are tons of cards to work with since we have access to the Dragon of Courage starter deck, a bunch of Agumon and Greymon related reprints, and a whole new line of support from BT14, as well as being able to play both the BT12 Agumon and Greymon since they will be available from the official Tournament Pack 11 as well. This build is no different to the regular WarGreymon style, where it's really about building the big stack and then taking out all your opponent's security in one go, and then potentially blitz Omni for game. The new BT14 Metal Greymon Ace is fantastic at surprising your opponents with its Blast Digivolve, especially in the early stages of the game to get rid of their Digimon with 6000 DP or less. New WarGreymon also does everything. It can Warp Digivolve from an Angoramon and then Raid, attack right away when Digivolving, gain Security +1, and Piercing, which is a ton of value just from one card. I also included the WarGreymon Ace from the starter deck as well for even more Blast Digivolve surprises, which is great for reactive plays too. The neat thing with that card is you can also use it for offensive applications because you can unsuspend and make multiple attacks at the same turn, which is really good to close games quickly. Overall, the WarGreymon archetype has a number of really nice tools to work with, and you can change up the build in any way you like, making it a very powerful choice for this particular format. Next up, there's Jellymon, which is a very decent choice if you're looking to play some kind of blue-based deck. Jellymon can strip the Digivolution cards of the opponent's sources and bottom deck their Digimon as well. With losing access to some of the Jellymon cards from BT13, it's not a problem at all, because with the BT14 Gammamon line, it makes the perfect replacement and has really good synergy. It can also strip sources alongside with the Jellymon cards, which combos with the stunning effects very effectively. Zudomon Ace can strip even more sources, which is what we're trying to do, and return cards back to the opponent's hand, and that is why I also decided to include Sora and Joe as one of my main tamer choices to help facilitate those kind of combos. Syakomon is also a must-have because it is perfect to counter any opponent's decks that reduce the Digivolution cost, especially many of them tend to play the new training cards too. The deck also has access to Bukamon, which I think it is one of the best blue eggs to currently run, and it can consistently give you jamming all the time. The Jellymon deck has a slightly aggressive playstyle where the early game plan is to chip away the opponent's security with your jamming effects, and then utilize Thetismon as your top end to unsuspend and make multiple attacks, and then finally you can finish it off with Blitz Omni for game. The D-Brigade and the DigiPolice archetype is probably one of the newer decks which came out in BT14 that suffered the most due to the Ultimate Cup rules and changes, but I still feel there's quite a few ways that we can add different cards to sort of make it playable. The deck relies on going wide by playing as many Commandramons as possible, and that is exactly why we need to add in the BT5 Commandramons to fill in those gaps and maximize the names as much as possible. Rather than going wide in the early game and try to float with a ton of Commandramons, the deck now relies more on a stack building method to get into a Brigademon and then go wide afterwards in the late game instead. The deck actually has quite a significant amount of cards I can still play within the archetype, such as Numemon, High Commandramon, and Cargodramon, but do expect yourself to whiff in the top deck searches every now and then because it is not as consistent as it compared to is when it comes to the regular format. The game plan is still the same. Once you establish a wide board with Brigademon, your goal is to chip away the opponent's security bit by bit and utilize Satsuki as your main tamer to give your cards jamming, which is really important. Also reboot when you need to so that you can go for defensive plays. And the idea is to continue to play as many Digimon as possible off of Brigademon to keep pressure at all times. I also include the Omnimon Zwart and the Zwart Defeat package as my level 7 tech choices, which we can get into based on the situation of the board game state. Omnimon Zwart to go even wider if we really need to, and Zwart Defeat to come out of security sometimes, which is a great surprise, but otherwise it is usually used to take out our opponent's tamers. Another BT14 deck that many players are hyped for are the Vaccine Angels archetype. This deck can work very well alongside with other yellow related vaccine cards. It can turbo digivolve very quickly thanks to Patamon, Emissary of Hope, and physical training cards. This deck is exceptionally good at recovering and cycling through the security stack as an extra layer of resource to help you get into your top ends as quickly as possible. Reducing the opponent's Digimon's DP is the main source of removal, whether if you're weakening the opponent's Digimon to swing over it with your stronger one or putting it all the way down to 0 DP so it gets removed via game mechanics. I also included the BT2 Yellow Rise Greymon because it can help play tamers for free and also provide aggression with security +1 alongside with Seraphimon, which gains that as well, so then you can do a lot of damage in one single attack. Holy Flame is also insanely good defensive tool, which slows down the game pace whether you play it from hand or comes out as a security bomb, which prevents all your opponents from ending the game since all of them will gain security -1 and the effect is also blanket. I can tell that this deck is going to be super fun and also incredibly strong at the same time, where I actually expect it to have quite a bit of presence during the Ultimate Cup tournaments and format. Just like Gammamon and Jellymon, which are from the Ghost Game series and the RBO1 Resurgence booster set, there's also Angoramon to talk about. I opted in for the Leomon package with Panjamon and Saber Leomon for the synergy of Ruli to digivolve up the stack quickly with the beast sort of related traits. The BT14 Palmon is fantastic as it synergizes with the combos, and because this deck actually mainly focuses on suspending the opponent's Digimon, so then you can actually gain memory back during your turn when you're climbing up through your stack and comboing with your Lamartmon and your D-Brigade too. Togemon was also added to play Tamers either for free or way cheaper, and also helps digivolve your stack a little bit more quicker with its reduction cost as long as you have a green Tamer. D-Brigade can repeat multiple attacks on the opponent's Digimon with Ruli's help to unsuspend during the end of turn as well, which is the main offensive strategy. You want to repeat that over and over again and you can gain a ton of memory back, and D-Brigade itself is also a blocker which can be used to play defensively too. Just like what green does best, the deck can turbo digivolve into level 6 very quickly in a one single turn with very little memory commitment, making this deck fairly powerful at taking down the opponent's Digimon via attacking and gaining a bunch of other bonus effects at the same time. And of course, there is no doubt that I gotta include my personal and fan favorite Imperial Digimon deck to talk right here for this video too. Since we got the Digimon Adventure 02 tutorial deck and the newest Tamer party packs, it gave us access to many Imperial Digimon related cards, and we can work with it to actually make a very strong and viable deck. The most important card is the good old Pale Digimon from Starter Deck 9, which is the main powerhouse to help you make multiple attacks in one single turn. DNA Digivolving is very effective, and you can also bottom deck the opponent's Digimon with 6000 DP or less too. Having the brand new Imperial Digimon Dragon Mode Ace card is also perfect for it to counter against the opponent's attacks during their turn. It also has a very good offensive application since you can utilize it to unsuspend itself when digivolving to make extra attacks if you need to go for aggressive plays. Other than DNA Digivolving, I also included the BT3 Pale Digimon just in case if we ever want to go through a stack building technique and strategy play, so that you can make multiple attacks with the Dragon Mode as well if we ever choose to play even more aggressive and go through that line. Without doubt, I'm super happy that Imperial Digimon has a chance to make a comeback in this particular format. So if you want to learn more about each and individual deck that I covered on this particular video and learn how to play them, check out my gameplay guides right here. As always, thank you so much for watching. You guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. See you next video, and this is AVAULT, signing